Alzheimer's podcast series. As I said earlier in the month, I am going to be coming out hard against some of the different organizations in the country and just really standing my ground on what I believe. And today I want to talk to you about the FDA. And there's a couple of reasons that I want to talk to you about the FDA. Reason number one, because of this new Alzheimer's drug, which I can't even pronounce, that just got passed to go out onto the market. So about 2 weeks ago, I think it was revealed that the Alzheimer's Association had done a huge lobbying process to get the FDA to approve this new drug. And then on the back end of that, what we didn't know, what was released in some other public documentation, was that the FDA, or I'm sorry, the pharmaceutical company had paid the Alzheimer's Association a lot of money. And apparently this has been the case for many years. And I have not been an advocate for the Alzheimer's Association for at all, really. I mean, I guess early on when my family members started to have trouble with Alzheimer's, I looked at their websites and, tried to think about getting involved. And I've done a couple of events through friends that are theirs, but I've always kind of believed that the Alzheimer's Association was a big money grab. I had listened to some podcasts from people who do Alzheimer's research who had talked about them not truly being involved in the research of how to prevent Alzheimer's or what causes it, but much more so, it's just really a donation-based money organization. And these huge pharmaceutical companies, because they have grown into such a gigantic organization, these big pharmaceutical companies just feed them money to help them lobby for their drugs. And so this is what happened with this new Alzheimer's drug that just got pushed out into the market. What isn't being publicized very well, and what I really want to continue to make sure gets pushed out into the world, is that the FDA denied this drug 2 years ago when they first tried to get it out onto the shelves because it needed more studies. Well, so the pharmaceutical company went back and did a third trial that only lasted 2 years, if it was even that long. And in that third trial, 18 people died during the trial. So to me, that's a huge fail. I don't know how many people were involved in the study, but anybody who dies while they're on someone's medication in a trial should fail that drug, in my personal opinion and many opinions of people that I know. But no, they didn't fail it. They put it out on the market. Money can talk. The FDA is well known for their love of money. Now the Alzheimer's Association is becoming well known for their love of money. But to go even further with the FDA, there are pharmaceutical companies out there who are manufacturing drugs at an alarming rate. Johnson & Johnson, Merck, Pfizer, Purdue, and the list just keeps going on, but those are the big ones. And a chart was just released on social media the other day through a doctor that I follow, and he posted the number of penalties that they've had and the total dollars that they've paid for these penalties, and yet the FDA just continues to push on and allow them to keep making pharmaceutical drugs. So Johnson & Johnson, for instance, 71 violations. 71 violations. Now, I don't know if this is over the course of the amount of time that this company's been open. I am not sure, but nonetheless, 71 violations, 14.9 billion, yes, you heard that right, $1 billion in penalties, and they are still making pharmaceuticals that are being put into our bodies whenever someone prescribes one of their drugs. That's a terrifying thought. They're the highest by far. The next two, Merck and Pfizer, are in the $10 billion range, but Merck had 81 records and Pfizer had 90 records on violations. So I guess theirs, even though they violated more, had a little lesser penalty price. I don't know. It's just ludicrous to me. How can these people still be in business? How are these people still able to provide things for the general public? Then we move on to, how did the FDA even come to be? Well, in 1848, a private organization got together to start looking at the agricultural consumer protection to make sure that people were getting things that weren't going to hurt them through food and drugs. Then in 1906, it became part of the government. a law was passed called the Food and Drug Act, or Pure Food and Drug Act, and then it became part of the US government. And so as they've grown with the government, they grow with their corruption, and they just continue to put products out there that are harmful to us. Look at our food. Now, as you know, I'm huge into nutrition, and food is a big deal. I mean, I believe that that is the number one cause for most diseases is our diet. And when we look at what is allowed to go into our bodies through the foods that are allowed to go into the stores for people who are buying processed, prepackaged foods, those chemicals are so harmful. And if you are familiar with the Food Babe, she posts all the time things that the FDA allow in our food versus other countries that don't allow it in their food. One of the ones that she posted yesterday, and isn't even so much what's allowed in ours versus other countries, this is just what's allowed in certain products and not in others. She posted yesterday that the FDA has now said that food coloring number 3, or red dye number 3, is no longer allowed to go into cosmetics because of the link it has to cancer. However, red dye number 3 is still allowed to go into multiple foods, including gummy candies, hard candies, cereals, meat. Yes, you heard that right. Red dye number 3 can go into your meat, among a ton of other foods. So they basically say this dye is known to cause cancer. You can't put it on your skin, but go ahead and eat it. Don't worry about that. Come on. And the list just goes on and on and on. I mean, I could probably talk to you for an hour about the things about the FDA that I don't like, but the point that I want to really drive home is you just need to do everything as naturally as you possibly can. Eat whole foods. Eat the food that is grown in the ground that's not modified. Eat the food that the animal provides you that is not colored with red food dye. If it comes in a can, if it comes in a box, it's probably not going to be good for you. So please, when you're thinking about what you're putting in your body and on your body, try to be as natural as you can. And if it says it's not approved by the FDA, it's probably good for you. That's my message to you today. I'll see you next week.